Welcome to Life Matters. I'm your host, Stephanie Henderson, and today I have a special guest, my father, Michael Henderson, and we're going to be discussing PTSD. The month of June is PTSD Awareness, which is the reason for this video. So post-traumatic stress disorder is a disorder in which a person has difficulty recovering after experiencing or witnessing a terrifying event, which can result in anxiety and flashbacks triggered by a traumatic event. So, can you share what is your experience with PTSD?
Well, I have personal experience with PTSD. I am a Persian Gulf veteran. I served in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Desert Calm. I was a member of the 164 Armor Battalion, and we were on the front lines. So I saw some horrific things, death, people being mangled, people burned to death, and I suffered in silence for approximately 20 years. And not only did I suffer, but I found out that my family was suffering because I didn't seek help at the time. And the reason I didn't seek help because I was a man of faith, and I'm still a man of faith. And we were taught that you just trust the Lord, pray, and everything will be all right. So I suffered in silence for 20 years. And then I finally talked to some fellow veterans who was also Christians and who was also men of God and men of the cloth. And I found out that it was not a bad thing to go get help. And so I finally went and got help. Over the years, the criteria for PTSD had changed. And they pretty much told me if I had came 20 years ago, I probably would have qualified and been diagnosed with PTSD. But instead, my diagnosis was unspecified stressor disorder. Which means that I didn't meet two of the qualifications or tiers for PTSD. So what I know about PTSD, it is real, it is a serious matter, and I think it's real critical that most people that suffer with it usually suffer in silence. I also took a course on PTSD with military application, since I do serve as a pastor, so I could be more helpful to my parishioners and those in my community that suffer with PTSD.
What advice would you give to someone to help them to deal with someone that is in their life that is suffering from PTSD?
Well, the best advice that I can give anyone that knows of someone that may be or is suffering with PTSD, the first thing I recommend is that you pray. The second thing that I recommend is that you educate yourself on PTSD and get all the information that you can so you can properly address that person, know how to approach that person, and also be able to encourage them to seek help.
And I just want to add to that, one, it's big to encourage them to get help and know that initially they may not be willing to, but don't give up. Keep working with them and keep, checking on them and ensuring that they are okay. And once you know that you are dealing with someone who has been diagnosed and they're very, aware as well, kind of go through the process with them, learn what are some of their triggers, what are things you can do to help. I know that that's helped me when it comes to dealing with PTSD and my dad. So another question I have is, what advice would you give to someone who might be battling with actually seeking help for PTSD, where they may, feel like, I think I may have PTSD? What would you say to help and encourage someone to actually go and seek that help?
Well, I would actually come alongside of them, and not only would I encourage them to go get help, but I would offer myself and make myself available to take them to the places that they can go and get help. And I would reassure them that the stigma that it used to be on PTSD or seeking help for mental or emotional problems is no longer there. And I would especially let the Christians know that it's not biblical when people tell you you shouldn't need outside help. Because one thing I learned is that God works through people. Jesus came and walked on the face of the earth for a certain period of time, and his earthly ministry is over. He's now sitting at the right hand of the Father making intercession for us. And God uses people as conduits to get his work done. So whether it's treated by therapy, whether it's treated by medication or a combination of things, sometimes God chooses to heal people supernaturally, but sometimes he works through people in order to get some glory out of that person's life. So with whatever you do, I would just keep on encouraging them to go, and then I would make myself available to take them.
So I hope that this talk of PTSD helps someone, whether it helps you directly or helps you to help someone else. And like he said, a lot of people do suffer in silence, and keep in mind that not all pain is physical and not all wounds are visible. So I'd like to thank you for joining me today and helping me to share about PTSD, as it is PTSD Awareness. And that's all for today. Life Matters, Stephanie Henderson.